believe there exists a place where people eat from the trash, live in the trash, and die among the trash? On the outskirts of Jakarta, Indonesia's bustling capital, lies a city that no world map ever dares to name. A city with no paved roads, no skyscrapers, only towering mountains of waste stretching endlessly to the horizon. They call it Bantar Gebang, the largest landfill in Asia, where thousands of people exist amid the stench, the toxic smoke, and despair. Here, the day begins with the roar of garbage trucks and ends under the flickering flames of burning plastic. Among the forgotten masses, women cook with trash, children play atop heaps of waste, and men scavenge through decay for a few coins of survival. In this place, trash is not just something discarded. It is money, it is food, it is shelter, it is an entire parallel civilization. When we look at Bantar Gebang, we don't just see mountains of garbage. We see the dark reflection of the consumerist age we live in. Because every plastic bottle, every disposable bag you throw away, might be lying here beneath the feet of children who have never known a classroom and in the breath of mothers who have never left the landfill. The world calls it a man-made hell, but for thousands, it is home. And today, we will step into the heart of that city, where life and death are separated by a thin layer of trash, and where you will witness one of humanity's cruelest paradoxes, when garbage becomes life. Number 1. The scene and the true horror. As you draw closer, Bantar Gebang stops being a landfill. It becomes another world entirely. Before you see it, you smell it. A thick, humid, acrid stench, as if the whole world were decomposing right before your eyes. It's a mixture of rotting food, burning plastic, animal carcasses, and toxic smoke, a smell that doesn't just cling to your skin, but seeps into your lungs and your memory. Then you hear it. The growl of dozens of bulldozers pushing mountains of waste higher each day, the grind of metal on metal, the crackle of shattered plastic beneath your feet and somewhere in between, the laughter of children echoing through piles of scrap. Above you, the sky is torn open by hundreds of vultures circling, waiting for a feast that no one wants to attend. Beneath you, the ground itself moves, trembling softly as if it were breathing. These mountains of garbage are not still. They live, they swell, they explode. Every step could be your last, because beneath the decaying waste lie pockets of methane gas, ready to ignite with just a spark. In 2024, one such explosion consumed nearly 20% of the area, destroying homes and blanketing the Jakarta skyline in a thick layer of black smoke for days. And yet, people keep coming, because for them, this hell is still better than starving outside its gates. The sunlight in Bantar Gebang is not golden, but ashen. The air reeks of burning, dense and suffocating. The entire landscape feels like a post-apocalyptic movie set, except there's no director, no actors, only real people living inside a real disaster. Around you, makeshift huts cling to the edges of garbage cliffs. Rickety carts stand beside barefoot women bent over piles of trash, and children run and play across ground littered with broken glass, used needles, and melted plastic. In a place where everything smells of death, people still find ways to live. Some cook, some sing, some smile, and you start to wonder, what makes a human being able to exist in a place where even life itself is poisoned? Bantar Gebang is not just a landfill. It is a distorted mirror, reflecting back the modern world, where what we throw away becomes the ground someone else must live on. Number 2. People of the Trash Mountain. Amid the smoke and ashes, the people of Bantar Gebang emerge, not as pitiful figures, but as silent warriors fighting every single day just to survive. They come from everywhere, Farmers who lost their land, factory workers laid off without notice, single mothers carrying their children away from the villages, clinging to the hope of a better life. But when the city rejected them, the landfill opened its arms. Here, they are known by another name, Pemulung, the Scavengers. They are the workers of the shadows. No salary, no insurance, no rest days. Every day they climb those mountains of garbage, armed with a metal hook, a bamboo basket, and a fragile hope that today they might find gold among the waste. Gold here isn't precious metal. It's plastic bottles, beer cans, copper wires, or a broken watch. Anything that can be sold. Each time a garbage truck empties its load, they rush in like a wave of humanity, scrambling for whatever is left, through the smoke, the stench, and the danger. Their day begins at dawn and ends when darkness swallows the landfill. The income of an adult here is only around 500,000 to 1,000,000 rupiah a month, about 30 to 65 US dollars. Enough to buy rice, instant noodles, and a bit of cooking oil, but not enough to dream. They live in makeshift shacks patched together from rusted tin, rotting wood, sacks, and plastic tarps. When the rain comes, the whole house floods with black, foul-smelling water. When the sun rises, the heat and burning plastic make every breath feel like fire. There is no stable electricity, no clean water, only stagnant tanks and a few dim bulbs powered by old car batteries. Here, the line between life and death is thinner than anywhere else. Every year, dozens die from collapsing trash mounds, landslides, or bulldozer accidents. Beneath those piles lie needles, shattered glass, and rusted metal. One wrong step can mean infection, gangrene, or death. Children are born into garbage, grow up to the sound of bulldozers, and learn to tell PET plastic from aluminum cans before they can even spell their own names. Some go to school by day and scavenge by night. Others have never seen a classroom, and yet, in their smoke-darkened eyes, there is still light. One mother said that every time she earns a few extra coins, she hides them away to buy notebooks for her child. If she can study, she can leave this place. A father whispered, "I don't wish to be rich. I just wish my child could read." In Bantar Gebang, even the smallest dream becomes a luxury. But it's those dreams that keep them standing in this living hell. Amid the stench, the toxic fumes, the roar of bulldozers, and the shouts of survival, people here still smile. They smile when they find something unbroken, when their child isn't sick that day, when the sun sets, and they are still alive. Perhaps that's what makes Bantar Gebang both horrifying and sacred, a place where life continues to bloom upon the ashes of humanity. Number 3. What they eat in the trash city. Amid the towering mountains of garbage, life goes on. And one of the most unbelievable things is that here, people still cook, still have restaurants, and still share family meals. The cuisine of Bantar Gebang is something no one outside this place could ever imagine. Small food stalls, called warung mini, are scattered along the slopes of trash, built from rusted tin sheets, rotten wood, or anything that can be salvaged. Every morning, vendors light fires right on the trash-covered ground, thick black smoke rising, mingling with the smell of burning plastic and cheap food. Here, the fuel isn't gas. Gas is too expensive. People burn plastic, rubber, broken sandals, even oil-stained plastic bags to make fire. The stench of melting plastic fuses with the smoke of food, creating a heavy aroma that locals call the smell of life. Every meal is a trade-off. They know that smoke is toxic. They know that fire slowly kills their lungs. But what choice do they have? A bowl of instant noodles, a cup of instant coffee, a piece of tofu fried over plastic flames. That's all they have after 12 hours scavenging under the sun. And the most famous dish here, tahu sa, or trash tofu. It's not made of trash, but it's born from it. The tofu is fried in an old pan over burning plastic, coated in blackened grease, surrounded by dense smoke. Each golden, crispy piece is rich and fragrant, and deadly. It carries a strange, burnt scent, a salty, spicy trace of melted plastic. Yet for the people here, it's a delicacy. A woman once said, "At least it's hot, it smells good, and it reminds me that I'm still alive." These meals have no vegetables, no meat or fish, only tofu, noodles, sugar water, and sometimes scraps salvaged from the market dump. Yet in their eyes, it's still joy, a rare moment of peace amid the hell of smoke and waste. According to Indonesia's Ministry of Environment Report 2024, burning plastic for cooking in the slums around Bantar Gebang is the main cause of chronic respiratory illnesses in 48% of residents, from pneumonia to lung cancer. Dioxins and toxic compounds infiltrate the air, soak into food, into skin, into every meal repeated day after day. And like a vicious cycle, death comes from the very thing that keeps them alive. In a place where everything is discarded, people learn to use even trash to sustain life. They eat, knowing it might kill them. They breathe, though the air is thick with poison. And they still smile, though every smile carries the taste of smoke and ash. Bantar Gebang is where the concept of eating to live is pushed to its limit, where survival itself becomes the daily meal, and life hangs just one breath away from death. Number 4. Burning plastic to build cities. Bantar Gebang is not just where trash ends, it's where a new cycle begins. Here, what the world discards is reborn, not to save the planet, but to feed the massive machine of Jakarta's urbanization. Tons of discarded plastic, bags, and bottles are collected, sorted, and sold each day to illegal lime kilns scattered around the landfill. Inside these glowing furnaces, the very same plastic is burned to generate heat, firing limestone into quicklime, a key ingredient for producing cement, bricks, and construction materials. A strange cycle unfolds: trash, fire, lime, concrete, city. In this way, what humanity tries to forget becomes the foundation for what it builds next. It is a circular economy, but one made of toxicity and survival. Thick, chemical-laden smoke billows from the kilns, gray, pungent, and acrid. No one knows exactly how many toxins it carries, only that it clouds the sky over Jakarta both day and night. When the lime blocks are removed, traces of burnt plastic cling to them, while dioxin dust seeps into the air, soil, and water. According to a 2024 study by Clean Soil Indonesia, eggs from chickens raised near this area contain 4 times more dioxin than the World Health Organization's safety limit. These poisons don't stay buried. They enter people's meals, their vegetables, their wells, and the very breaths of their children. With every new brick, every freshly built wall, part of it is made from the same toxic waste the poor inhale daily to survive. It is a vicious circle, where urban development is sustained by the destruction of those at the very bottom of society. Some call Bantar Gebang Jakarta's black lung, the place where the city inhales garbage and exhales glittering skyscrapers. But the price of that breath is life itself, the health and future of generations growing up in silence, never knowing they're being poisoned. In this spiral, no one truly escapes. The poor burn plastic to earn a living. The rich breathe in the toxins from the buildings they construct. And the city itself, that proud symbol of civilization, rises from the rotting foundation of its own decay. A perfect circle of destruction. Number 5. The real cost of Jakarta's growth. Jakarta, the city of lights, skyscrapers, luxury malls, and endless streams of traffic. From above, it looks like the perfect symbol of the Asian economic miracle. But just 20 kilometers away from the city center lies another picture, where the light of modernity ends and the shadow of reality begins. Bantar Gebang. Every day, this city produces over 8,500 tons of waste. And all of it is brought here, where every garbage bag, every foam box, every plastic scrap from the affluent city is stacked into mountains. On one side are bustling districts, coffee brewing in cool, air-conditioned cafes. On the other, people live among burning plastic and swarming flies. On one side are comforts built from shining materials. On the other, the waste of those very comforts. These are two parallel worlds, coexisting within one city, divided by invisible walls called money, class, and indifference. While Jakarta keeps developing, the people of Bantar Gebang still inhale plastic smoke each morning, still dig through garbage bags searching for food. The children here don't know classrooms, don't have books or playgrounds, only the stench of waste and black smoke for company. They learn to tell apart pet plastics, to avoid the piles that might collapse, to survive before they learn to read. And that is a bitter lesson no school ever teaches. To live, you must get used to filth. According to a 2025 Indonesian Red Cross survey, residents living near landfills like Bantar Gebang suffer from respiratory diseases 3 times more than those in the city center. They lack clean water, health care, and almost everything except garbage. Meanwhile, in central Jakarta, people talk about green cities, sustainable growth, and clean energy transitions. But here, the only energy is plastic smoke and human sweat. As one side reaches for the sky with its towers, the other is slowly being buried beneath layers of waste. Progress, something that should be beautiful, for thousands in Bantar Gebang, means being left behind. Jakarta keeps growing, but not everyone is lifted with it. Some are crushed beneath the very thing that fuels the city's glittering image, the waste of consumption. Urban progress doesn't raise everyone up. It buries some people deeper. And Bantar Gebang is where those people now lie, quietly, beneath the massive mountains of trash, mountains that every one of us, whether knowingly or not, has helped to build. Amid the towering mountains of waste in Bantar Gebang, where the sun never rises clean and twilight is never peaceful, people are still alive, or perhaps more accurately, still trying to live. Behind the cold statistics of tonnage, toxins, and urbanization are faces. The trembling hands of a mother sifting through garbage for a few plastic bottles. The sparkle in a child's eyes when they find a broken doll. The wheezing breath of an old man who still smiles and says, "At least I can still see the sun." In Bantar Gebang, life has no perfect form. It is crooked, scarred, covered in dust, smoke, and stench, yet it persists. In a world where everything has a price, the only thing without value is human life itself. Every morning, as Jakarta awakens to the sound of car horns and skyscraper lights, thousands here begin their day chasing garbage trucks. When the trucks tip their loads, waste floods out like an avalanche, and they rush forward, pushing, scrambling, fighting for anything that can be sold. A thin woman, sunburnt and wearing a tattered hat, told me, "I don't see myself as a trash picker. I'm a selector of what's left from other people's lives." Her words sounded like philosophy, because here, every piece of trash carries a story. A half-empty milk carton, a torn shoe, a doll missing its head. Each once belonged to someone, in another life. And now they are reborn, through the hands of those the world has forgotten. At noon, the sun burns white-hot. The sky is not blue but metallic gray, and the air thickens with the acrid smoke of burning plastic. In one corner of the landfill, a group of children play house, stacking old plastic containers into tiny walls. One child said softly, "When I grow up, I'll build a real house." The words were innocent, yet haunting. Here, every dream is simple, and yet more expensive than gold. They do not dream of wealth or travel or fame, only of living in a place that doesn't smell of trash. By dusk, the mountains of garbage turn to gold. The dying sunlight glows against every plastic bag and beer can, and for a fleeting moment, the landfill looks almost beautiful. Beautiful in a cruel way, because that beauty is built on the suffering of thousands. When the bulldozers roar and the ground trembles, another section collapses and people stand up, brush off the dust and keep working. No one cries. No one complains. Tears ran out long ago. What remains is silence, heavy enough that you can hear your own heartbeat. And yet, in this place where hope seems impossible, miracles still happen. A small school, built from torn tarpaulins, stands at the edge of the dump. Dozens of children sit on the dirt floor, tracing letters on scraps of paper salvaged from the trash. The teacher, herself a garbage picker, teaches them to read. A, B, C echoes through the toxic air. And somehow, it's the purest sound in Bantar Gebang. In a world buried in smoke and refuse, knowledge remains the last thing still white. At night, while Jakarta glitters with its skyline, here only small fires flicker. Flames from burning plastic, from makeshift stoves. The smell of molten waste fills the air. Firelight dances on tired faces. Mothers stirring pots, children half asleep, men humming old Indonesian songs on a broken radio. One old man sings quietly, "Even buried under trash, I'm still human." His voice cracks, but carries warmth. The lyric feels like both a declaration and a prayer. Because while the world sees them as shadows, they remind themselves they are still alive. If Bantar Gebang were a living body, its people would be the heart, bruised, suffocating, yet still beating. They are not just fighting hunger, disease, or pollution. They are fighting erasure. The cruelest thing is not poverty. It is being treated as though you do not exist. When we look at them, we don't just see the poor. We see ourselves, reflected in another form, our greed, our consumption, our indifference. Bantar Gebang is a perfect circle of contradiction. The city throws away its trash. The trash sustains the poor, and the poor produce the materials that build the city. Every shining building in central Jakarta carries within it the ashes of this place. Every brick, every slab of concrete contains the breath of garbage. And yet, when people look up at those towers, no one remembers the ones who burned plastic to make them rise. The city grows by burying its makers beneath it. Still, Bantar Gebang holds within it the greatest lesson of our age. Humanity can survive anywhere, even atop its own waste. These people are proof of our most primal instinct, to endure. Amid hell, they keep their humanity. Amid poison, they still dream. Amid darkness, they still find a way to make light. As night falls, the sky over Bantar Gebang turns black, like a mirror. In that mirror reflects the image of Jakarta, of Indonesia, and of the world itself. A world radiant above and rotten below. A world that races forward, yet forgets to look down. But if we dare to stare into that mirror, we'll realize trash is not what we throw away. It's what remains of our choices. Perhaps the real question isn't, how do we end places like Bantar Gebang? But, how do we stop becoming part of it? Because garbage exists only when we consume without thought, discard without remorse, and live without reflection. Bantar Gebang does not need our pity. It needs our awakening. because none of us truly escape this cycle. The trash we create today may become someone else's meal tomorrow. And if humanity does not change, one day we will all be living on the ruins of our own waste. Bantar Gebang. It sounds like just another landfill. But after witnessing this place, you'll understand trash never truly disappears. It only changes its place, its form, and its owner. What we throw away every day, a box, a plastic bag, a bit of leftover food, may be lying here among this vast sea of waste where people are eating, living, and breathing with it. Bantar Gebang isn't just Indonesia's wound. It's a mirror reflecting the consumerist world we've built, where the rich live high above, basking in comfort, while the poor bear the burden of progress. From afar, Jakarta glows under the city lights. But look closer, and you'll see that glow is fueled by darkness, by sweat, by toxic smoke, and by lives forgotten. In Bantar Gebang, I saw children growing up among trash, yet still knowing how to smile, mothers cooking with burning plastic, yet still praying for their children's future. Amid this hell, humanity flickers like a small lamp, fragile but never extinguished. Perhaps it is in the darkest places that we see the truest light of humankind. Writer George Orwell once said, "The real test of a man's character is how he treats those who can do nothing for him." And maybe that test is clearer than ever in our contradictory modern world. Because Bantar Gebang doesn't just tell Indonesia's story, it tells all of ours. A world where people discard things more easily than ever before, from possessions to compassion. Yet, among the refuse of indifference, there are still those who live, love, and hope. They don't need our pity, they need our attention, just to be seen and not ignored. Because when we dare to look directly into the darkness, that might be the very moment humanity begins to truly see itself. If today's journey made you think, if it made you fall silent even for a few seconds, then don't forget to hit subscribe to continue exploring the hidden corners of our world, where truth often resides in the places few dare to look. Because some things only appear when we stop and truly observe. Don't look away.